That's right. Your beautiful, beautiful song picked by our youth, Camila Torres, who's in the studio here. I asked her, hey, what song do you want to start with? She says, there's a song called Beautiful. And it refers to the young people and how beautiful and how kind-hearted it is dedicated to all the young people, all those young listeners out there listening. You're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prundale. You're on From the Street with your host, Omar Dieguez. And like I always like to start my shows, I like to give thanks to the Creator for allowing us to be here. Dándole gracias al Creador por dejarnos estar aquí, el Señor Torres, otro día para inspirar, to inspire the youth, to bring the message of hope, to help our community heal with these important community members that come in here and tell us their story, tell us what they've done to make a difference in this world. So thank you, Creator, for allowing us to be here. And today we have a special show for you guys. We have Yanely Martinez. She's a Central Coast organizer coordinator with California for Pesticides Reform, organizer for Monterey Bay and Santa Cruz regions, empowering local safe ag, safe schools, members for climate change solutions and pesticides reform, while developing the next generation of leaders, which are the future leaders of change, which is one of the groups that Camila represents, and she's here to talk about the future leaders of change and all the stuff that they've done. Camila, let's start off with you. How are you? Tell me how old you are. Tell me who you represent. Let the audience know who you are, please.
Oh, so yeah, my name is Camila Torres. I am 13 years old, and I go to Vista Verde Middle School in Greenfield, and I represent Future Leaders of Change, which is a youth group that is a group of young activists who are trying to fight for environmental justice, and that's basically what we are.
What you guys do, and just so people can hear it again, how old are you?
I'm 13 years old.
13 years old, young, and you're making big things happen in Greenfield. Not only in Greenfield, but from my understanding, the Future Leaders of Change have also gone as far as up to Sacramento. Tell me a little bit more of the work that you guys have done to bring awareness on the harms of pesticides.
So I think last year I went up to Sacramento to meet with Secretary Yana Garcia and talk about what pesticides do to our community, especially the Latino Indigenous community. And I also went up in Sacramento again, I think the following day, for a hearing, and we were listening to them talk about what these chemicals cause, how it affects a human brain, especially for children, since they're developing, they're barely learning, and they're over here being breathing in these deadly chemicals. And so we talked about that, and we also this past December we delivered gifts to kids from the Latino Indigenous community, because their parents are tired from work, they're exhausted from these chemicals, and you know how sometimes they can't go to work during December because of something. And so we went out to give gifts, and there's this one little girl, I forgot how old she was, but she was still a baby, and her name was Lupita, and her story like it touched my heart too much, because she has Down syndrome, and I was happy that we got to surprise her with gifts, and she was happy. All of the kids were happy. So that's some things that we did for Future Leaders of Change, all of us, to bring happiness and also show that we should all bring more youth, no matter if you're younger or older, bring more youth to fight for environmental justice with us.
Wow, that's amazing the work that you guys are doing. And more or less, how many youth are part of your group of the Future Leaders of Change? And tell us about who else is part of the group, because from my understanding, your brothers and sisters are also part of that group.
Yeah, my brothers and sisters, my sister Africa Torres, and my brothers Santiago and Vitor, and there's also other youth activists also from Watsonville, like Ana and Jessica and Rocio. And then from Greenfield, we have Alexia, Hugo, Abel, Miguel, Ciclali, Eduardo. We have a lot there, and we're all like a big family, supporting each other to fight until they could just stop spreading these deadly chemicals.
Cool. And you know, it's so inspiring to see the young people, the work that you do. Like, you guys are doing big stuff. You guys also help bring about the spray days. Can you tell us a little bit about the spray days?
I know a little bit, but Spray Days is an app where you could put your address on there, and it sends you what time and what chemical it's going to be sprayed, and it shows you what fields are next to you that are going to be sprayed, so that you could tell your family, like, don't go outside at this time, it's going to be sprayed. And it also, it's like I think a square mile that it shows you from your house, and you could also put as many addresses as you want, so it could either be like your school, where your grandpa lives, where your tia lives, anywhere that's near fields, you could put it in there, and it tells you
it sends you notifications of when they're spraying the pesticides, what pesticides is going to be sprayed, and it'll tell you more or less the time, I think, also. Yeah. But you guys have been doing a lot of work, and I'm very impressed with the work that your organization, Future Leaders of Change, have been doing. And what I'm mostly impressed about is the young people, how young, because I think your sister's an 8th grader.
She's a 6th grader, so right now she's 12. Yeah, she's 12.
She's a 6th grader, and she's out there doing the work. I'm so impressed. Like, wow. Like, when you guys went to PB High, everybody was impressed with your sister, because they're like, wait a minute, you're a 6th grader, and you're talking to high school kids about doing changes against pesticides. So that's very impressive. And what do we think for that? Who's responsible for motivating you guys?
The person that motivates me and motivates our group is this beautiful young organizer, Yanely, which she's also here. Yeah, she's our motivation. She's our inspiration. She teaches us, like, don't be scared if you go up to a mic. Don't be nervous. Like, this is your time to shine. You're teaching other people and teaching other youth of, like, what you're doing, and you're bringing more youth in. So she's my inspiration.
And Yanely, it's okay to say, who's Yanely to you?
She's my mother.
Wow. You got to give her credit. Give Mama credit. Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, we'll have more questions for you. But Yanely, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and why you're here. And you know, tell us about the Future Leaders of Change, how that started.
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, Omar. Thank you for having me here. Just hearing Camila, it's really amazing to see where they're at. Camila didn't really highlight the fact that all of them started as babies, so they've been growing into the movement. She mentioned Alexia, so we have to give Alexia a big shout out. She's one of our Greenfield youth leaders, and Victor. Both of them started when they were actually 6th graders themselves. And then they went through middle school, and now they are going through high school. And, well, Victor now and Rocio and others are in college. So it's kind of a group that has survived during these crazy moments that we're living in. And it's just because the spaces that they've been, or the people that have surrounded them, have really embraced who they are and uplifted them, kind of like what you have done, Omar. So if we don't do that to the youth, a program won't last. If you just kind of support them for a year and then you're gone, you have to be consistent. You really have to highlight the fact that you become a family. When they're hurting, you're hurting. And so that's a lot of the empowerment that I gave the youth. Like, yes, we need to fight environmental justice, we need to fight social justice, but I know that you're struggling at school. I know that you have problems, because all of them have had problems. And I have to be the mom at times and been there to support them and uplift them and understand that we all make mistakes, but you just have to brush it off, get up again, and let's do it. So, I mean, some of our youth have been through the incarcerated system. And so part of our jobs as Future Leaders of Change is making sure that we help dismantle the whole school to prison pipeline at the same time that we're building these leaders.
Wow. That's super powerful and super important that we give them hope. We give him hope. We give him a goal to look forward to get involved in the community and to make change. Yanely, you're the daughter of farm workers from the Salinas Valley. How did growing up in the environment shape your understanding of pesticides and environmental injustice? How did that help you get into the work that you're doing today?
I think literally that's what made me do what I'm doing. Coming from two amazing farm workers, I am the proud daughter of Yanely Martinez, who's no longer with us. But I know she's always, here guiding me through different ways. And Ramon Martinez, who came to this country with the idea of the so-called American dream. I'm going to raise my 7 kids. I'm going to work in the fields. One day I'll buy a home. One day, I'll watch them go off to college. And sadly, that dream did not happen because both of them worked their whole life out in the agriculture field. Their last 10, 15 years were specifically in the grape fields. And my mom got sick with dementia. She was only 56, which shouldn't be happening. It's not normal. And then my father had to retire to take care of her. And then eventually I lost her in 2023. So for me, this fight means everything because I already lost my mom to this fight. And I'm not willing to lose none of my kids, none of my neighbors, none of my community to pesticides. We need to put a stop to it. And I know that it's going to take more time, but I know that eventually we won't have to bury any more of our loved ones because of pesticides.
And when you refer to dementia, your mom was suffering for it, and we all know that dementia is one of the causes of, not the causes, but pesticides is one of the chemicals that causes dementia, along with a list of other things that it causes. So your mom was a field worker for a very long time, and you got to experience what pesticides does. And I think also one of your sons was sick from
Asthma
from pesticides also. So you and your family know firsthand what the effects of pesticides are, and that's why you do what you do today and advocate against pesticides and stuff like that. But we're going to take a quick break. We have also in the studio Señor Torres. Ahorita que regresemos, we're going to ask you a question about what it's like to be a father to and a husband to these young, beautiful ladies that are doing the work in the community. But you're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, and you're with your host, Omar Dieguez from the streets. All of them squiggers that are driving home right now, please take your time and be safe on the way home. Make sure you get home to your family and make sure that you guys are safe out there in the roads. Señor Torres, we have Señor Luis Torres here in the studio, who is Yanely's husband and Camila's father. ¿Cómo es estar casado con unas mujeres que son activistas en nuestra comunidad y las cosas que hacen a una edad tan joven, el trabajo que hacen ellas y luego los hijos también? ¿Cómo es ser un padre? And just so everybody can understand, I'm asking him, what's it like to be a father to a family that is such an activist and advocates against pesticides, and these young women that are doing great work in the community?
Antes que nada, gracias, Omar, por la invitación aquí en la radio. Nada, Dios. Para mí lo más importante es como familia siempre apoyar. Y es una bendición tener a 2 mujeres, especialmente mi esposa y mis hijas y mis hijos que están jóvenes y andan en el movimiento, abogando por la gente que necesita la información. Y qué mejor que los jóvenes se involucren, qué mejor que haya más jóvenes que involucren y levanten la voz, que no se queden callados, que levanten sus fuerzas, que es únicamente la herramienta que tienen, que es la voz. Y yo me siento orgulloso y más que nada bendecido de tener a 2 mujeres, especialmente siguiendo los pasos de su mamá, que es mi hija, que se involucra, que sigue aquí en el movimiento, y África, y Víctor y Santiago y los demás jóvenes que también son parte del movimiento, y me siento bendecido.
Gracias. Do you want to translate or do you want me to try to translate it?
Do you want to try?
Well, Mr. Torres says that it's an honor to be part of a family where these young women are such activists, and his son's also doing the work in the community, and it's important that he supports his family in any way he can to continue to do the work that they're doing. Is that basically what he said, Yanely?
Yep.
Am I leaving anything out?
Nope. Perfect.
No? So and I see this family everywhere I go, and Mr. Torres is always there making sure that they have their signs, they have their sound, they have their music, taking videos. So, it takes more than just the activist. It takes the man behind the scenes to support the family. And it's an honor to see how this family works. Pero gracias, Señor Torres, por estar aquí hoy.
No, gracias.
Yes. Camila, so what is it? For the youth that are out there listening, and that want to get involved, give me a message for them. What does it take for them to get involved, to become a leader and make changes?
The things that it takes to become a leader, you are a leader already because you were born a leader. Wow. But, whenever you're, sorry, I'm trying to think. To become a leader for an activist, you need to have confidence. And you also, what else is it? I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You have to have confidence.
Confidence.
You have to, what else? It takes getting involved, And some of the things that I like to tell the youth is, you don't have to know it all. Just show up. Yeah, just show up.
Just show up. You could show up to our meetings whenever we have one. Also, SASS, you could show up to one of their meetings because we are also part of SASS too. And you could just be there. You can invite your friends, family, abuela, abuelos, and you could just sit there and listen to it. And then I sometimes see when new people come into the family and they're like, oh, I've never heard of this. And when they stay and they listen, they're like, oh my God, this is new information, and they want to get involved. So I think that's how the youth can get involved. Come to our meetings, come to SASS meetings too, and just be there, listen. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook too. We have pages there where we post. Also, SASS has a page too where we post a lot of things. You could just follow us and keep in touch for what we post.
And for the people that are the listeners that don't know what SASS is, can you tell us what SASS stands for?
It stands for Safe Ag, Safe Schools.
And SASS is an organization that obviously does work against pesticides, right?
Yeah.
And it's related to, the name says it, Safe Ag, Safe Schools. Well, thank you, Camila, for answering that. I know I'm not going to ask you some more questions, so prepare yourself.
Okay.
But you're doing great. You're doing good.
Thank you.
Yanely, where did you first realize that the pesticides were not just an agriculture issue, but public health and human rights issue?
Wow. That is a good question. I think it ties back to the first question you asked. Once I saw the effects it had in my mom, that she was forced to retire because she got sick because of these pesticides, and then how my dad was forced to retire himself to take care of her. And then having my son end up in the ER because of pesticide exposure, it really showed that this goes beyond just health. It's a social justice issue because it's affecting predominantly Latino indigenous communities. I don't hear Carmel, Monterey, parts of Santa Cruz saying like, oh, we have an issue with pesticides. It's always the community that's struggling to put food on the table. It's our farm workers that are the ones putting, their hard work and leaving their kids behind. Like, I have to leave my kids to go to work, and then sometimes you're forced to retire early, or you never have that American dream because of the consequences of pesticide exposure, how highly it's used in our community. And so it goes beyond just environmental justice, and basically that is a wake-up call.
Wow. And how does, and as a mother of four, how does motherhood influence the urgency and heart you bring to this kind of work? Like how important, what kind of role does that play in the activism that you do?
Oh, I think that plays a huge part. It really does. Because not just as a mother of four and having to see Victor, and you know me, I'm spicy. I could defend myself. I know the two languages. And when he was rushed to the ER and having the doctor say, well, yeah, he's affected. What's happening to him right now, this asthma attack, is because of pesticides. But I can't sign any paper because legally the hospital is tied to these big ag donors and it doesn't look right. I could lose my job. Thinking as a mom right there and questioning him, I could just think about all those moms that may not have the second language and can't advocate for their child and are just kind of brushed aside, or just, it happens, you can't report it, you can't even question the ag commissioner. No. So for me, it's important as a mom seeing, like Camila mentioned, Lupita, one of the little beautiful girls that they visited this past December. We have so many Lupitas in every community that are being born with different disabilities, whether they're developing ADHD, autism because of the pesticide exposure, because their moms are working out in the fields. So we have many Lupitas, and we have many moms of Lupitas that might not be able to advocate for them because of pesticides and all these barriers that come with it.
Wow, and and it doesn't only extend. You guys are all the way in Greenfield. We see the Lupitas here in Watsonville in the Pajaro Valley.
Yeah.
And we see kids that are, I work in the high schools, and I see how some of these kids have a tough time sitting, and they have learning disabilities. They're suffering from ADHD and all those other diseases that we all see that are caused because of the pesticides that are being sprayed near our schools. And let me ask you this: right now there's a movement to ask Driscoll's and all these other growers to stop spraying near our schools. Mm-hmm. How is that a realistic goal, to ask them to stop spraying near the schools? I mean, compared to all the fields that they own, we're only asking for maybe like 23 fields that are near the schools. Is that something that we can obtain soon, that goal?
It's definitely doable. I think Driscoll should be paying attention. But I think the work that many people come together and demand in different ways, you're kind of pushing them in, I would say, because you have people advocating for policy, and then you have people demanding that Driscoll stops the use of pesticides, or that at least they convert to organic. I mean, they have to realize that they can't continue to ignore every single person that's telling them or emailing them or just bringing it up to their attention. Mm-hmm. It's doable. Other countries in the world are using, they're safely farming without pesticides. Mm-hmm. So Driscoll's is known to be everywhere. They know how to do agriculture. They know how to treat the land. Why not stop it now? And let's stop having more Lupitas that are born with all these conditions, or children that are developing cancer. So to your answer, Driscoll's could definitely just say yes to what you guys are demanding, what we should all be demanding, right, for them to stop using pesticides, harmful pesticides around our schools.
Yeah. And recently the PVU, the Pajaro Valley Unified School District, just laid off all their mental health clinicians, counselors, all these special ed programs, which is pretty crucial, because we know that a lot of those students that are suffering from these disabilities are because of the pesticides being sprayed near the school. So, yeah. So now, how do we fix that problem if we don't even have the professionals in the school system to take care and to properly diagnose and help these kids? What can we do? Like what should we do as a community to try to bring change and help these students?
I think the system is just continuing to hold these communities down. Our communities of color, mm-hmm, by putting different barriers. Mm-hmm. Not only are we incarcerating folks just for asking questions, just for showing up, then we're being poisoned, and now we're having these resources taken away from us because apparently there's no money for those resources, but there's money for new furniture, there's money for new admin salaries, but not for the kids, right?
Yeah, let's not mention the admin salaries that are crazy.
So I think the best advice is mobilize, organize, and have people show up. And even if it's not your problem right now because you're not a student, or because you don't have a student that is currently needing those needs, mm-hmm, or those resources, who cares? Show up to support your community, your vecinos, your abuelos, your teachers. We need to show up, and we need to be loud. And right now with the youth social media, blast whoever you need to blast online to make sure that people are held accountable. That's the best way we could continue this.
Right. And Camila, how can we bring more future leaders to change to, because you guys are based out of Greenfield, right?
Yeah.
How can we inspire the youth to start their own chapter in their own high schools? How can we make this how can we bring it to every single high school in our area?
In my opinion, I think my group, we could schedule if there's ever career days or anything, we could go to the school and show a presentation of what we do and what we activate for, mm-hmm, and then we could probably be like, you guys could come, you guys could get involved, and all we do is just fight for environmental justice and in what people are trying to do with these chemicals and stuff. I think that's my opinion of how to involve the youth.
Well, I think it's important that we could get the word out there, and right now we have a chance to send a shout out. So shout out to all the future leaders of change that are out there doing the work. If you're listening, gracias for everything you do in the community, and Camila's here to advocate for the group and spread the word. So thank you for everything you guys do in the community and the changes that you're trying to bring to the community. Señor Torres, otra pregunta para usted.
Okay.
¿Y qué clase qué es lo que mira usted en la comunidad que afecta más las pesticidas? I asked him what are some of the things that he sees in the community that pesticides affects the most.
Pues hay muchos pesticidas que afectan a mucha la comunidad, más que nada inmigrante, que es la más vulnerable, que es la que más siempre va a levantar las cosechas y es la más afectada. Esperamos en de que haya un cambio, especialmente como estaban hablando del caso de Lupita, una niñita chiquita que apenas empieza a vivir y para sentir los efectos de los químicos, o sea, no es justo. Y estamos aquí para levantar la voz para muchas personas que realmente lo necesitan información más que nada.
So what he said was, one of the people that's most affected from the pesticides are the immigrant community, and they keep on referring to Lupita, who's the little girl that had the Down syndrome. That community needs a lot of support, and we need to show up for that community, the immigrants, and not to mention right now, not only are they suffering from the pesticides, but they're suffering from ICE, being the fear of being deported and all that stuff. We see what's going on around the country. So if you think that the pesticides is not your problem, it's everybody's problem, because it doesn't only end at the fields. It goes as far as the immigration. It goes as far as, the people that are picking these crops, putting them on our table so that we could all eat. It's sad to see right now that we're dealing with this ICE terror regime, es bien triste saber que tenemos que vivir en estos días con todo eso. And you're listening to From the Streets with your host Omar Dieguez, and in the studio we're talking to Yanely Martinez, Camila Torres, and Luis Torres, all a beautiful family that does a lot of work in the community against pesticides. Yanely, I know there's a campaign going on against organophosphates right now. Can you tell us a little bit about organophosphates and what are the harms it causes, and what's the campaign about?
Yes. So we had a big victory back in 2020 where we got organophosphates, one of the organophosphates, chlorpyrifos, banned from the market, and that was thanks to Governor Newsom. But we know that there's still many more of that family, the OPs, shorter for organophosphates, and which you were a great part of, Omar, is basically being used in our communities at high levels. And so OPs are actually some of these chemicals that were invented by Nazi scientists.
Wow.
So they attack the nerve system, and that's, again, the OP family, the organophosphates. So they're affecting little ones like Lupita, because of the study that came out, and you were a great part, a speaker, not too long ago, just last year in September, I believe?
A couple months ago, I think, yeah.
So part of that study was the fact that many pregnant women in Monterey County and Santa Cruz County, but Monterey County had the highest amount of babies that were born into a close proximity where OPs were applied. Organophosphates. And so that's going to be the biggest push, is to make sure that we eliminate all organophosphates, which we're asking for a ban statewide. So we're hoping that we have no more Lupitas. And
one thing that stood out to me, and when I took on the commitment to do the hunger strike back in September, I heard Dolores Huerta come to Wattsville, and she spoke about how the Nazis used these chemicals, organophosphates, which was one of the chemicals, to make these gas chambers, and yet we're using those same chemicals to spray our vegetables with and our fruits with. That's what stood out to me. Like, how does that make it okay, or where does that? It just blew my mind to hear that these are the same chemicals they use to kill people in the gas chambers, but yet we're using them to spray our fruits and it boggles my mind to think that that's something that's okay with us.
Yeah.
To poison our food like that.
It's mind blowing. They're prohibited to be used in war, but then again they're allowed currently right now in our fields, in our backyards. And so where's the uproar? Why is nobody fighting it? Just us, the local activists like you, Omar, that hunger strike. So we need to make sure that people understand they're poisoning us, and it's time to call for a ban of organophosphates.
And I think the best way to describe the organophosphates, I think that somebody told me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically when they spray those chemicals, what it does is scrambles the bug's mind or brain. So if it's doing that to the bug, what's it doing to us?
Yep, it attacks your nerve system and your lungs.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that our government's okay with that. And not only our government, but also the growers that are spraying these chemicals, these companies.
Yeah.
It's alarming.
And going back to what you're talking about with organophosphates, Omar, just as a side note, remember I told you my mom was working out in the ag fields. There's actually no proven scientific study yet, but she was working in the fields where a lot of the organophosphates are used, specifically chlorpyrifos, the one that got banned in 2020. So I take the organophosphates fight very strongly because I do believe in my heart that was affecting my mom. That's what took her from me and from my loved ones.
¿Cómo se llama tu mamá, if you don't mind me asking?
Lucila Martinez.
Lucila Martinez, en paz descanse. We're still here fighting for you, and we're gonna never forget her name. We're gonna make sure that we make positive change in our community for her and for all the many others that have passed on due to these chemicals.
Absolutely.
It's tough. It's tough. Yeah, and how do we get the doctors to? Is there a way for? Because I haven't heard of anything where the doctors could say yes, it's caused by pesticides, or do they want to say that?
They say it, but they won't sign any paper. So for us in this country, paper talks. You need to have anything documented, and whenever you ask a doctor, they'll verbally tell you yes, but there's no paper that I could sign. But with SASS, and you've met many, we've had many amazing doctors that have worked in the whole pesticide reform movement for many years, that they've come forward and they put their name and face to the movement and said, yes, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a family practitioner, and these community members are being affected by pesticides. Mr. Velasco from Monterey County, from Santa Cruz, Dr. Valerie Vangel. I mean, there's been so many doctors that are still doing the good fight, including Dr. Silva, who, again, have been here for many years, and they're actually vocal and saying, yes, I'm a doctor, and these pesticides are affecting my community. We need more doctors. More doctors
that are willing to stand up and fight for the people. And yeah. Camila, why is it important to develop youth leaders now, not later?
I think it's important to develop youth now because in the future, like, what if we can't pass it anymore? What if we're not strong enough anymore? Like, we need more youth now so that our group could be bigger and bigger, so that when we get to the future, we could pass bills, we could ban pesticides for good and not make them use in the fields, because how you said it, yeah, it's prohibited in the wars because they use it for the Nazis, but why is it allowed for them to plant it in our fields, vegetables, in our vegetables fields, like we're eating that fruit and vegetables, and we're the ones who, not the people who spray it, we're the ones who are getting affected by these chemicals. So I think now it's better to start a big group than later.
And it's important that, because obviously you don't want your children being affected in the future, right? You guys want to provide a better, safer future for your families, because who doesn't want a better future for their families, right?
Yeah.
Let's fast forward 10 years from now, Yanely. What changes do you want to see in California on how we protect our children, our schools, and farm workers? Like 10 years from now, let's be realistic. What would you like to see from now?
Wow, 10 years. I'm thinking beautiful things. I'm thinking, like you mentioned, and you opened that perfect question to Camila. The youth are going to be in charge, and they're not going to be putting up with the BS, and they're going to be going after these politicians, and they're going to be representing the community with honesty. They're not going to be taking lobby money, dirty money from these big ag companies. They're going to see what we as society have done now, that they're going to break away from that. They're not going to continue to incarcerate our people. They're not going to continue to allow for these pesticides that are banned in other countries to currently be used in California. They're going to be passing bills where they're going to be giving more protection to our community. And when I say protection, it could be just simple protection from, like, having a 8 to 5 job with the best working qualities, because by then my hope is we have transitioned completely away from pesticides, and we're going to be living in this sustainable future where vegetables are no longer poison. We are no longer poison. And our soil is blooming again, because soil is dying. Right. Yeah, that is my hope for 10 years.
And that's one thing about the pesticides, is that it's not only affecting our farm workers, but it's affecting our land,
the water,
our air, our
Mother
water,
nature.
Yeah.
all that stuff. So it's nature, you said,
Yeah.
Camila, describe to me and paint a picture what you vision. Give me your vision of what the future looks like for you.
How I want my future to look like is where I'll see my children running outside in the grass, not being scared of what they're breathing in. The trees blooming, Mother Nature happy. Like you see the animals happy. The soil is beautiful. Flowers too, where you could also go pick fruit. Just by the soil, you could just pick fruit out of it and eat it without having to wash it because of the chemicals. That's my picture. Just seeing like people outside and not having to fear of wearing probably a gas mask because of the chemicals.
Wow, what a beautiful picture you just painted for us, and you know what? I'm glad that the audience got to hear. Like, this is one of our youth leaders in the community, and this is the vision that she visions for her future, and let's give her that vision. Let's fight for a better tomorrow. Let's fight for no more pesticides in our community. Let's fight for them to have that right to be able to, like she said, pick the fruit right from the crop and eat it without having to worry about washing it. And she even said about having her kids out there running without having to worry about the air they're breathing. Let's fight for that. Let's give them that future. So important that we come together and we make these changes for a better tomorrow. Yanely, I'm gonna give you the what's on your mind. Like, what do you want to talk about pesticides? I want to give you the platform so you could tell us what's on your mind.
So we have a big fight ahead of us, but right now we have something that the community fought for over 5 years, which is spray days. So right now there's a tool for us to be empowered, everyone. So please sign up for spray days. There's still no app for it yet, because DPR says it's so hard to create, which it isn't. So easy nowadays. But you could go onto their webpage and you could sign up. All you need to do is put your name and address, and then you'll get the alerts like Camila mentioned. So it's not perfect, because we're not getting the 100 and something pesticides that are used in California. We're only getting I would believe like around 50, but it's 50 of the most dangerous ones, like fumigants, the ones that are used a lot in the Pajaro region that we want to ban as well. So you get to get these alerts, and you get to tell your neighbor or the school children, if you have somebody who's asthmatic, you're not going to want them in the playground. You're going to want to make sure that the teachers are protected as well. So it's not a perfect solution because we don't get that exact location. But by us getting all these alerts, we could start emailing our local representatives and our state representatives, and also making sure that we hold our ag commissioners accountable, because they control the counties, and make sure that they understand we're getting so many alerts. I'm worried. What's going on? We need better protections. And eventually that will happen. But it takes a huge team effort. It can't just be one or two. It has to be a mobilized community, region, county, state, in order to make change.
And can you give me the website? What's the website?
It's under DPR. So if you go under DPR, the Department of Pesticide Regulation, you could find spray days, or just go into Google and put spray days, and it will take you directly to their link.
And I signed up for that those alerts, and I'll tell you when it's pesticide season, because they don't spray it year round. No. They spray it during a certain amount of season. I used to live near Ohlone School. That was my backyard, and I punched in the Ohlone School address, and within a month I got over 60 alerts. Sometimes I was getting them 2 to 3 times a day, and it'll specifically tell you the chemical that they're spraying. It'll give you a time window of when they're spraying it, and it's just alarming to see how many of these alerts come in. 60 in a month, that's a lot. And we know that when they spray these chemicals, they don't just stay in the ground. When they're spraying them, they're traveling up to 7-mile radius. Watsonville is about 10-mile radius. So 7-mile radius, you could imagine how much Watsonville is breathing those chemicals in. So it's a good app. Please, if you have a chance, look into it. Educate yourself on it. You'll be alarmed how much of these pesticides are being sprayed in our communities. And hopefully that app will scare you enough to want to come out and make change.
Yes. And it's a way of us ending pesticide secrecy. Because, again, many people talk about how they've seen the pesticide applications happening early in the morning or late at night, and we don't know how much pesticides they're applying because they've always kept it a secret. And now with these alerts, we're getting a lot of them. So we're really highlighting the fact that basically our growers are so dependent on pesticides, and they shouldn't, and we need to break away from that. And so it's our way to at least start that ending of pesticide secrecy conversation.
Wow, thank you, Yanely. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prundale, K-Squid. You're listening to From the Streets with your host, Omar Dieguez. We'll be right back.
Yo, put your fist up, cause it's power to the people. No more power to the evil, no more cowards in the ego. We gon' stand up, yeah, build up our community. Help what we can, cause we standing up in unity. World's in our hand, and it's only up to you and me. Yeah, it's only up to you and me. Save the world from the people trying to make a quick dollar. Probably sell the last breath and the last drop of water. Why is there so many people oppressed and people depressed and people upset? We need to reset, where is the button? I see our country dropping bombs at all our taxes funding. Human rights ain't no political discussion. All we have is only what we came with. Not the cash, not the clothes, not the land that you claiming. Never let Mother Earth be forsaken. People need to understand that this world is worth saving. Look around at the beauty around you. The grassroots, the sand dunes, the waves that crash through. It's all such a beautiful sight. Everybody come together, put your egos aside. Come on. Let us dedicate this to the children of the future. Never let the thoughts of the past go consume ya. Let's stop paving the way and making some change. The world is worth saving, so let's save it today.
If I could save the world, I'd do it all today.
Hi, everyone. We are here with Lyrical Eye, Isaac Collins, a Santa Cruz legend and a Santa Cruz hip-hop leader in our community.
Hi, I got a performance coming up on the 24th at the Veterans Hall. It's going to be with like the band Neighborhood Kids, Indigenous Cats. It's going to be a really good event. I'm going to be performing that poem, How Many More, to honor Tyree. And yeah, it's going to be a beautiful, it's going to start from 12 and it's going to end at 9 p.m.
This awesome event will be featuring awesome acts like Lyrical Eye, amazing acts like Shine Light.
Yes.
You also got the Neighborhood Kids there and also the Indigenous Cats.
Yes.
For UCSC students, Cabrillo students, to the youth, show out to the Vets Hall. This will be this Saturday at the Vets Hall starting at 11 a.m. There will be an awesome Indigenous tribal practice where everyone can be in community and enjoy the arts as well. And most importantly, most of the proceeds of these funds will go to support farm workers. We must ensure that we go out and that we also show out and also turn up and get lit. We got to make sure that we also have a good time when we're doing this revolutionizing work. This is this Saturday at the Vets Hall starting at 11 a.m. Use the code word Hector for Santa Cruz if you want $5 off into your ticket.
This is something. That's right. You can also use the code word from the streets and you'll get an additional $5 off right there. But if you tell them Omar sent you, you might get let in. No, don't believe that. No, don't believe. But if you do use from the streets, you will get that $5 discount. But yeah, I encourage the people to please support this amazing event, because part of the proceeds to that show is going to the Center for Farm Worker Families to help them continue the fight against pesticides, to support our community and everything that they do, along with Yanely, Camila y el Señor Torres aquí que hace todo el trabajo en la comunidad, soportando la familia. These are amazing people doing amazing work in our community. So we need to support these people to continue to advocate for those unheard people that can't make it out to the mics, that can't make it out to the school board meetings. And that's mostly our indigenous community, our farm worker community, our immigrant community. We need to support them. And, so part of those proceeds to that concert will be going to the Center for Farm Worker Families. Yanely, we have a couple of minutes left. Camila, we have a couple minutes. Señor Torres, I have a question for you, and anybody can answer this. What role can educators, parents, students, and community members play in this movement? How can they get involved?
They play a huge part. You just care about your neighbor, yourself, your family. Show up, come to these meetings, join any organization. But what I tell the youth every time I speak to them or I give a presentation is that everyone has something so powerful, and that's our voices. Don't let nobody shut your voice, because if we continue to allow politics, big ag, school boards that don't care and take away funding, if we let them do that, they're silencing us.
Yes.
But we have our voice, and it's powerful. Mm-hmm. We show up, we speak up, and we speak truth to power. That is my take. Camila, Mr. Torres, I don't know.
Camila,
Go.
Give us the youth perspective. Give me a message to the youth. Motivate them to come out and to be another Camila, be another Victor, another future leader of change.
And my motivation is, if you feel like, if you have parents who are working in the fields, or anyone that's working in the fields, and you're like, I see them struggle because of these chemicals and I want to help, you could help by supporting us, supporting any group. Just show up, and how my mom said it, just show up and fight also too, because, and how my mom said it too, again, your voice is your power. So when you use your voice, they're going to listen to you. They're not going to shut you down. They might try, but you just have to push and be like, no, I'm trying to fight for this. And then they will start listening to you. They're like, okay. And I think it's better for youth to show up, because they're going to listen to the youth more, because they're going to be like, oh, also these youth are fighting for it too. And they're inspired by the older generation too. So that's my motivation.
Wow, thank you. Señor Torres, un mensaje para la gente allá que está escuchando, ¿cómo se pueden involucrar? Dígame algo que los haga motivation para que salgan.
Pues yo pienso que lo que los motiva a muchos es que se unan a las juntas, que se informen, de que sepan exactamente que tienen derechos. Porque honestamente siempre nos quieren callar, pero al fin del día tenemos que levantar la voz, y lo importante es no dejarse, y aquí seguimos.
And what Mr. Torres says is get involved, get involved, raise your voice. They're trying to silence us. Don't let them silence us. Come out and do your part. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for being on the radio show today. I really enjoyed, being in the presence of three very strong people that do a lot of work in our community. Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to leave before we close our show out?
Yeah, I would love to say that just yesterday we were doing the MLK March in Salinas. And I've been feeling down because everything's happening, Omar. Politics, pesticides, Driscoll's ignoring us.
Yeah.
ICE kidnapping our loved ones.
Right.
And just, I was losing hope. And then yesterday, coming together with a beautiful, diverse community, I started listening to everything that they were saying, and I started remembering all the amazing heroes that have come before us, like Martin Luther King, like his wife, Coretta King, Cesar Chavez, and
Dolores Huerta.
Yeah, Dolores Huerta. And that inspired me to say, you know what? We need to let people not turn off our light. And so I'm going to continue to let this little light of mine continue to shine and shine. And that's my take.
This little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
We're not the best singers, but we get the message.
Yes,
Thank you, Yanely. Camila, any closing comments?
Yeah, just like how my mom said it at the MLK that we had in Salinas, it was beautiful that everyone got together because we were there. And my mom's little song, yeah, they're not going to shut the light down. They're not going to shut my light down.
No,
I'm going to let it
move
bright
forward.
light. Yeah, we're going to move forward.
Right on. Well, thank you to everybody. Gracias, Señor Torres, por estar aquí. Continue to do the work you do in the community. You've been listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, and you've been listening to From the Streets.